Everyone told him he would never make it. Not fast enough. Not strong enough. Not important enough to even try. While other high school athletes were being labeled as future stars, collecting 5-star ratings and national attention, he was barely noticed. No headlines, no hype, no guarantees, just a 2-star rating and a quiet belief that the world hadn't seen his best yet. And here's the truth most people never talk about. Legends don't always start in the spotlight. Some are built in silence, where no one is watching, through discipline, patience, and an unshakable mindset. This is the real story of Fernando Mendoza, a quarterback who was overlooked, underestimated, and quietly written off, but refused to let early labels define his future. And by the end of this video, you might see your own struggles very differently. Let's rewind the clock. Fernando Mendoza grew up in Miami, Florida, in a Cuban-American family where hard work and resilience were non-negotiable. Football was his absolute passion, but man, the journey was really tough. After high school, analysts saw him as a 2-star prospect. Definitely not the kind of ranking that grabs attention or opens doors. While the stars were shining, Fernando was hustling in the shadows. He didn't fit the classic quarterback prototype scouts usually chase. He wasn't the biggest name. He wasn't the loudest talent. He was simply consistent, disciplined, and hungry. Even in those quiet Miami mornings, Fernando faced doubts that nobody could see. He wasn't just competing against other athletes. He was battling his own insecurities. Each missed pass, each criticism from coaches, each quiet sideline observation felt like a reminder of all the ways he wasn't enough. But he didn't let it stop him. He used that pressure like fuel, waking up earlier than anyone else, running drills in the empty field, imagining the moment he would finally prove himself. It was lonely, exhausting work, but it was laying the foundation for his future. And this brings us to the first lesson. Where you start does not determine where you finish. Your ranking, your background, or how people see you early on does not define your ceiling. With limited offers from major programs, Fernando stayed patient. Instead of chasing validation, he focused on improvement. He refined his mechanics, studied the game deeply, and stayed prepared for any opportunity, even when no one seemed to be watching. At one point, he committed to Yale, showing that academics mattered just as much as athletics to him. Later, his journey took a turn, and another door opened. The University of California, Berkeley. Along the way, he found mentors who believed in him when others didn't. Small victories, like mastering a difficult play or reading a defense correctly, became turning points. Each win, no matter how minor, reinforced the belief that persistence beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Fernando began to understand that progress is measured not in instant recognition, but in daily steps, repeated over months and years. Cal wasn't the loudest offer in college football, but it was a real opportunity at a Power 4 program, and Fernando took it without hesitation. Here's lesson number 2. Sometimes a door closing isn't rejection, it is a redirection. The path you didn't plan for may be the one that pushes you closer to your potential. When Fernando arrived at Cal, nothing was handed to him. He wasn't the automatic starter. He had to earn everything: reps, trust, and respect. And this is where his work ethic separated him. More time in the film room, extra hours on the field, and always breaking down defenses. He wasn't just improving physically. He was becoming smarter, calmer, and more confident as a quarterback. Over time, that discipline paid off. He earned his role and proved he belonged at the highest level of college football. At the same time, he was excelling academically, balancing the demands of Division I football with a strong commitment to his education at Berkeley. Of course, the path wasn't smooth. Injuries, tough losses, and moments of self-doubt tested him relentlessly. But Fernando learned a crucial lesson. Resilience is built in the hardest moments. Every setback became an opportunity to strengthen his mind. He visualized success, rehearsed difficult plays mentally, and reminded himself constantly that one failure doesn't define a lifetime. His mental toughness became as sharp as his physical skills. Even as Fernando's skills improved, the pressure never stopped. Every game came with scrutiny, every mistake magnified by fans, coaches, and media. But he learned to filter out the noise, focusing only on what he could control. Criticism became a tool, not a burden. Each critique was a lesson disguised as judgment. Fernando realized that the world will always have opinions, but your destiny is shaped by your choices, not their voices. Lesson number 3. True excellence is built through consistency, not shortcuts. Progress compounds when discipline becomes a habit. After establishing himself at Cal, Fernando made another bold decision. He entered the transfer portal and chose to continue his journey at Indiana University. A move influenced not just by football, but by family, growth, and leadership opportunity. This wasn't about running away from competition. It was about stepping into a bigger role. At Indiana, Fernando wasn't just trying to prove himself anymore. He became a leader, a veteran presence, someone teammates could rely on and off the field. Along the journey, Fernando found coaches, teammates, and mentors who guided him beyond X's and O's. They challenged him, supported him, and sometimes pushed him harder than he pushed himself. He learned that talent can take you far, but collaboration, listening, and learning from others is what transforms good players into leaders. Mentorship turned potential into performance, and performance into influence. Lesson number 4. Growth often requires new environments and new responsibilities. Leadership isn't about being the loudest. It's about setting the standard. Perhaps the most crucial factor was his own mindset. Fernando cultivated the belief that he was capable of more than anyone had told him. He visualized success, embraced discomfort, and trained himself to rise after every setback. Every day became an exercise in self-trust, discipline, and courage. He understood that a champion isn't someone without fear, but someone who acts despite it. This inner conviction carried him through uncertainty and propelled him toward greatness. Fernando Mendoza's story is still being written. There's no fairy tale ending here. No guaranteed trophies. No instant legacy. But what is undeniable is this: a 2-star recruit who refused to accept limits. A quarterback who trusted the process. A young man who turned being overlooked into fuel. By the time Fernando reached Indiana University, he was no longer the overlooked recruit. He was a leader, a teammate, and a symbol of perseverance. He showed that greatness isn't gifted, it's earned through consistent effort, humility, and the courage to keep going when no one is watching. His story is proof that every no, every small doubt, and every quiet grind can eventually lead to moments the world will never forget. And that leads us to the final lesson. Your beginning does not dictate your ending. Labels are temporary. Discipline is permanent. If you've ever felt underestimated, if you've ever been told you're not enough, if you've ever felt invisible, despite working hard, remember this story. Not because it promises instant success, but because it proves that quiet consistency can rewrite any narrative. So ask yourself, what's your 2-star rating? What's the area where people doubt you? Because that might be exactly where your breakthrough is waiting. Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And let me know in the comments which part of Fernando Mendoza's journey hit you the hardest.